And we're back, folks, here in WrestleRant. I'm Graham Giason Matthews, and right here in WrestleRant, I break down all the pay-per-views and content that I watch on the WWE Network. All month of May long, we've been talking about Vengeance, and today we're breaking down Vengeance 2006. So, Vengeance '06, not a very strong show in the whole. I mean, it had its moments. We'll talk about it right now. The opening match, Randy Orton versus Kurt Angle. Really good match. I enjoyed it. I thought the One Night Stand match was better. Of course, this was a rematch from the ECW One Night Stand pay-per-view from a few weeks earlier, but still a good match. I don't really understand why the feud started to begin with. I'm sure there's a reason. I didn't read back up on the weeks leading up to this match or the other match or whatever, but they didn't really talk about it too much. There was no video package or anything. It was just kind of there, and it felt like kind of weird to put Kurt Angle in the opening slot on a pay-per-view. He was on his way out of the company anyway, so I'm sure he didn't give a shit. WWE didn't give a shit, but regardless, it was a good match. Orton, in the end, avenging the loss from the ECW pay-per-view from a few weeks earlier, so a good way to kick off the night. After that, a quick squash match with Umaga dominating Eugene. Afterwards, he attacked Jim Duggan, Doink the Clown. He walked away from Kamala. He would dominate him the next night on Raw anyway, but a quick squash served its purpose. Umaga was fresh on the scene. It was kind of weird for him to go, from squashing Ric Flair at Backlash to facing losers a few months later. But then again, Eugene, I guess he's a former tag team champion. He had some credibility, right? He faced Kurt Angle at SummerSlam '05, Triple H at SummerSlam 2004. He kind of fell from grace once the gimmick kind of had a short shelf life. And I've talked about that before on the show. But anyway, served its purpose and it built towards the match the next night on Raw between Umaga and Kamala. After that, we had a 2 out of 3 count falls match between Ric Flair and Mick Foley. It was just as bad as it sounds. These guys, they could have a good match if they wanted to. They had a good match at SummerSlam. I thought the SummerSlam match was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I figured we would have some sort of magic here from these guys as well at Vengeance, but I would say without an Extreme Rules stipulation, I thought they really thrived when it was all hardcore and shit like that, but this wasn't really hardcore. It was a straight-up wrestling match times 3 in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Again, an all-right match, just not really that good. Didn't go long at all. It went 7 minutes. We had 3 falls, and Ric Flair beat Mick Foley back-to-back falls, and it went 7 minutes. Kind of stupid, but anyway, the match itself sucked, but the post-match angle I thought was really good with Mick Foley just beating the living shit out of Ric Flair to set up the hardcore rematch for SummerSlam, which, like I said, was a lot better, but good post-match angle. The match itself was nothing to remember, or at least nothing good to remember. After that, a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Shelton Benjamin defending against Carlito and Johnny Nitro. Only 1 year removed from Benjamin versus Carlito for the IC title at Vengeance '05. So that was kind of cool. I think Carlito was a babyface here and Benjamin was the heel, and the Nitro had just got drafted to Raw. And he won in a very fun matchup. They got some decent time. All 3 guys worked well together. A big win for Johnny Nitro in his first official Raw pay-per-view match. So that was pretty cool. So after that, he just kind of got off the page there for a second. Okay, so we had the IC title match after that for the WWE Championship. Rob Van Dam taking on Edge. I don't know if I could say I'm shocked, but it was a little disappointed that this wasn't the main event. How did this go on before DX versus the Spirit Squad? Which I'll talk about in a moment why that might have been. Why did this go on before Cena Sabu? Why did this go on before Imposter Kane versus Actual Kane? Why? The WWE title should be the most prestigious prize in the company. To put it on 4th to last made no sense at all. It's not like it was Rob Van Dam versus fucking Eugene. It was Edge. And they had a great match. This was a really, really good match. The longest match in the entire show. They made the most of the time they were given. They had a lot of great chemistry together. In the end, RVD going over strong to retain his WWE title, despite interference from Lita. Again, great story, great match, awesome chemistry. Why would this go on in the middle of the show? I'll talk about the reason why in a moment, why I think it might have been, but it seemed like a total waste. And it felt like, RVD, despite the whole suspension, obviously, but they never really treated RVD like a big deal from the moment he won the championship. He won both belts. The ECW championship, technically, he was awarded. But when he won the WWE title, ECW One Night Stand, it was kind of along the same lines as CM Punk's title win in 2011 and Money in the Bank, that he felt like the hottest commodity in wrestling, and it was a long time overdue to win a world championship. And they just kind of treated him like just another guy. He was basically in the same spot that he was before as an upper mid-carder, but just with the WWE title. So who knows how his reign would have gone had he stuck around. He probably would have lost the belt. The long-term plan was to do Edge and Cena at SummerSlam anyway for the championship, so he probably would have dropped the championship sooner rather than later anyway. But it would have been interesting to see how he would have been positioned as champion had he not gotten suspended a week or so later. So after that, like I said, Imposter Kane versus Actual Kane. The match sucked. The whole angle was stupid. Really led nowhere. The whole culmination in the May 19th angle, which again led absolutely nowhere, so really kind of a waste. Imposter Kane won, to make it worse. Clean, too. He won fucking clean. And then Kane attacked him the next night, and he was gone. So at least we have Luke Gallows back in the company, who, yes, was portraying the Imposter Kane at that time. But this was a really random-ass storyline that felt like they were just kind of making it up as they went along. Oh, that'd be cool if we had two Kanes, a la Undertaker versus Underfaker from 1994. And that match sucked, too. So what do they expect for this match to be any different? It's not like Kane's a mat-based wrestler or anything, so I have no idea, but the match sucked. Anyway, so after that, an Extreme Lumberjack match between John Cena and Sabu. A very fun match. Surrounding the ring, you had members of the Raw and ECW rosters. I think Raw, too. I feel like it wasn't just ECW, but anyway, a really fun match. John Cena went over. He forced Sabu to tap out. So, on the bright side, the match was a lot of fun, and I wish we could have gotten a rematch on Raw. Maybe we did, but I don't think we did. I feel like we should have gotten another rematch on pay-per-view or whatever. So again, a really fun match. I enjoyed it. My two gripes against it. One, Sabu tapped out. Why? It's not like the guy won the ECW title in the re-Christianed ECW, but still, to have him tap out, to cut ECW's momentum short, really made no sense to me, but that was one thing. Two, why did the match go 7 minutes? It went less time, it went shorter than Imposter Kane versus Actual Kane. Again, why not give them at least 10 minutes? Why not? It was really asinine to me, and they kind of made the whole ECW roster look weak. Only 2 months into their arrival. Only 2 weeks into their arrival, not even 2 months. So that was kind of questionable, but the match itself on the bright side was really good. For what it was and how long it lasted. In the main event, we had a 5-on-2 handicap match. The Spirit Squad taking on D-Generation X. So again, why was this positioned as the main event over the WWE title match? Even over John Cena versus Sabu. And the reason being, because it was DX's first match back, I believe. Unless they wrestled on Raw or whatever, I'm pretty sure this was the first match back for the reunited Shawn Michaels and Triple H as D-Generation X. So I assume that was the reason why in this whole pay-per-view was, built around and hyped around the reuniting, the reformation of D-Generation X, and I get that. And the match was fun, but it did not warrant 17 minutes, especially against 5 guys who meant fucking nothing, and the tag titles weren't even on the line. I'm sorry I'm getting mad about this, but it's just why? Why? There's so many questions about this pay-per-view that really made me question. This is why I don't really like the year of 2006. And I know John started watching in 2006. There's a lot of stuff to love about the year of 2006, but just stuff like this really bothered me. They ruined the ECW momentum. The WWE title was passed around like a hot potato, like a game of hot potato. And D-Generation X coming back was great, but why make them the focus of the show for the entire summer? Why were they the main event? The match really wasn't that good to warrant, first of all, 17 minutes, because there was no chance in hell, no pun intended, because I know Vince came out afterwards, that the Spirit Squad was going to win anyway. No one bought into the possibility of them winning, despite the 5-on-2 advantage. These guys were chumps. I know one of them was Dolph Ziggler, one of them was Kenny Dykstra, the other 3 I couldn't give 2 shits about. And arguably no one gives 2 shits about those guys now anyway, Kenny Dykstra and Dolph Ziggler. But it's like, why? Who bought into the possibility of, the Spirit Squad winning to warrant giving them the main event slot in almost 20 minutes of in-ring time? Because the ending result was no different. And then Vince came out afterwards after DX won. They laid out all the members of the Spirit Squad, and those are your World Tag Team Champions, by the way, which I don't think DX ever got a shot at, which makes no sense. They beat not only 2 members of the Tag Team Champions, they beat all the Tag Team Champions. They beat all fucking 5 members, and they still don't get a Tag Team title match. Why? Again, why? Because fuck you. That's why. Is really the only answer I can think of. But anyway, so Vince comes out afterwards, and he says, I'll see you tomorrow night on Raw, guys, and that's really it. So it built up Raw, I guess. This whole pay-per-view was really to kind of build towards Raw. But as a show, I can't recommend it. I'm sorry. It had its moments. I thought the WWE title match was far and beyond the best thing on the entire show, so check that out. If there's any one match to watch from Vengeance 06, it's that match. The rest of the show wasn't terrible. There's just a lot of disappointments and a lot of questions that were not answered. And even in coming weeks, it's not like, you have to stay tuned to find out, or we're going to get questions in coming weeks. A lot of this stuff ended up making no sense in the end anyway. So why? Again, why say why? Why ask why? I have no idea. But as far as this pay-per-view goes, quick recap, Orton and Angle, good match. I would suggest checking that out too. That was a fun opener. The squash was a squash. Ric Flair versus Foley was kind of dumb. That was not good at all, but the post-match angle was good. The IC title match was fun. I'll give it that. A nice title change, too, to kind of give this night some newsworthy moments, at least one newsworthy moment. RVD and Edge, like I said, a great match. And then the whole The rest of the show, I thought, again, was a lot more questions than answers. I thought Imposter Kane versus actual Kane was stupid. The finish was dumb, too. Why would you have Kane lose clean, a guy that was gone the next day? John Cena versus Sabu was fun, but Sabu tapped out for no reason, and the match went 7 minutes, and the main event was not really... Again, it was enjoyable for what it was, but I think I liked it a little less just because it was in the main event, and no one bought in the possibility of the Spirit Squad winning, so... Anyway, that was Vengeance 06. What I recommended on the whole, not really. Again, probably just for the opener, maybe the IC title match, and definitely the WWE title match. There's other pay-per-views from 06 that are better than this one. I thought this was really kind of a mixed bag of good, bad, and just why. Again, why is really the underlying theme of this entire show. Why? But again, why ask why? And it was 10 years ago, so it's not like it matters anyway. So that is my review of Vengeance 2006. As always, thank you for watching and listening. I appreciate your support. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back in my next video to talk about Vengeance, not 07. I talked about Vengeance 07, which was the Night of Champions show. Technically the first ever installment of the Night of Champions pay-per-view. I think it kind of goes under the Night of Champions lineage, or maybe both. I don't remember exactly, but I did review it 2 years ago when I reviewed all the Night of Champions pay-per-views. So it's not here. I already talked about it, so I'm not going to review it here again. Obviously, I'm not going to review it again. I talked about it. I watched it 2 years ago. So go back in the WrestleRant archives or just go to the channel and type in Vengeance 2007 review, and I'm sure it's up there from 2 years ago. But rather, my next video to finish off the Vengeance pay-per-view reviews, we'll be talking about Vengeance 2011, which was also not a very good show. And I remember it distinctly. It was not a very fun show at all, but it had some moments, and we'll talk about it in my next video right here on WrestleRant. But in the meantime, and in between time, guys, be sure to follow me on Twitter at WrestleRant. Find me on Facebook, give the page and all thumbs up at facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews. Like I said earlier, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Check out the website, nextairwrestling.net. All the links are down below in the description box. And we'll see you next time in my next video to cover Vengeance 2011. So until then, guys, I'm Graham Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.